The warden, a rigid man named Stone, rarely granted last wishes. Too frivolous, he'd say. But something about Reed Harrison's request struck him differently. Maybe it was the desperation in his eyes. Maybe it was the quiet dignity he carried, even in an orange jumpsuit. Whatever the reason, Warden Stone found himself agreeing to the condemned man's plea. 1 visit, your dog, 2 hours, no exceptions. Reed Harrison, eyes filled with a flicker of hope, whispered, "Thank you." For years his loyal companion, a majestic German shepherd named Storm, had been his solace. Through the bars, through the loneliness, Storm's unwavering devotion had kept him going. Now, facing the abyss, Reed longed for the comfort of his friend. He needed to feel the warmth of Storm's fur one last time. Days turned into agonizing hours. Reed counted down the minutes, picturing Storm's arrival. He imagined the joyous bark, the wet nose nudging his hand. The clock ticked past the appointed time. Doubt crept in. Where was Storm? Warden Stone entered the cell, his face grim. "There's been a complication. Your dog, he's gone missing." The words hit Reed like a physical blow. Hope, so recently rekindled, turned to ashes in his chest. His last connection to the world, severed. Tess Vale, her heart heavy with worry, paced the floor of her clinic. Storm, a regular and beloved patient, had vanished. His disappearance was out of character. He was supposed to be at the prison, visiting Reed. Something was terribly wrong. She checked and rechecked the appointment book, her anxiety growing. Storm wouldn't just disappear. He was supposed to be picked up by the prison transport. Where could they be? The thought sent a chill down her spine. This was no accident. Someone had taken Storm, but why? She racked her brain, trying to recall any unusual calls or visits. Then she remembered a man, rugged and unassuming, asking about Storm a few days prior. He said he was a friend of Reed's. She had dismissed him as just another concerned acquaintance. Now, she wasn't so sure. Driven by a growing sense of dread, Tess pulled out her phone. She needed help, someone who could navigate the darker corners of this mystery. Her fingers hovered over the call button. She knew only one person who fit the bill. Lane was a man of shadows, his past shrouded in mystery. He lived on the fringes of society, finding solace in the company of rescued animals. He had a knack for disappearing, for melting into the background. But beneath his gruff exterior beat a heart of gold, especially when it came to those in need. Tess's call found him at his remote cabin, surrounded by his loyal pack of strays. As she recounted the story of Storm's disappearance, a steely glint appeared in Lane's eyes. He didn't believe in coincidences, not when it came to matters of loyalty and injustice. "I'm on my way," he stated, his voice firm and reassuring. He had a debt to pay to Reed Harrison, a man he barely knew. Years ago, Reed had saved his life, pulling him out of a burning car wreck. Now, it was his turn to repay the favor. Lane gathered his gear, a familiar weight settling on his shoulders. He whistled to his dogs, their keen senses picking up on his urgency. They were his eyes and ears in the shadows, his loyal companions in the fight for justice. Tonight, they were on a mission to right a wrong. Section 4, Collar of Hope. The trail was cold, but Lane was relentless. He followed every lead, every whisper in the wind. His search led him to a seedy motel on the outskirts of town. The stench of fear and desperation permeated the air. He found Storm locked in a dingy bathroom, whimpering softly. The dog's eyes lit up with recognition and relief at the sight of Lane, but something was different, a subtle shift in the dog's demeanor. He seemed anxious, his movements stiff. As Lane examined Storm, his fingers brushed against something hard and metallic concealed beneath the dog's collar, a flash drive. It was a long shot, but perhaps it held the key to this twisted game. Had they underestimated Reed Harrison and the bond he shared with his dog? Lane's gut told him this was more than a simple kidnapping. There was something bigger at play, something sinister lurking beneath the surface. He had stumbled onto a conspiracy, and Storm unknowingly held the key to unraveling it. Section 5, Unchained Truth. The contents of the flash drive sent shockwaves through the investigation. It contained evidence of a vast criminal network operating within the justice system itself. Corrupt officials, fabricated evidence, and innocent lives caught in the crossfire. Reed Harrison was just the tip of the iceberg. The evidence was damning, irrefutable. The very people who had put Reed behind bars were now exposed as the true criminals. The case against Reed crumbled, the charges dismissed. Justice, so long denied, had finally prevailed. But the fight was far from over. The revelation of the conspiracy sent ripples of fear and desperation through the criminal underworld. They couldn't let the truth come out, not at any cost. As Reed walked out of prison, a free man at last, a sniper's bullet found its mark, silencing one of the kidnappers before he could talk.